My next guest is back in action at UFC 262 on May 15th. She's going to be taking on Viviane Araujo. It's Katlyn Chookagian back here on the program. Katlyn, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Good to be talking to you. Good to see you get another fight here. Going to be fighting on this big card, UFC 262. Before we get into that, though, we just had UFC 261. Crazy card. You know, the fans were back. There was a lot of cool finishes. What did you think of, Valentina Shevchenko's win specifically? Because you fought her and Andrade.
Yeah, I mean, I thought all the fights were amazing. Obviously, I'm most interested in that fight because it's my division. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of went how I thought it was, how I thought it was going to go. To be honest, I always find it interesting every time Valentina fights. The commentators are always like, "Wow, she's really improved on her wrestling." I'm like, they have said that every single fight.
Right? Yeah.
Like, it's almost like everyone, I don't understand. Everyone thinks Valentina is like they just think of her as a striker, but I think like the most impressive thing about her, especially in women's MMA, is her wrestling and her takedowns, and then, you know, her control on the ground. So it's one of those interesting things. Like I said, every time everyone seems surprised, and they say and don't realize they said that the last couple fights.
Yeah. Well, did you expect her to finish Andrade in the second round by strikes? Because, I think Andrade hasn't been finished, like, knocked out TKO style, like that much. I know Zhang knocked her out, but in general, we haven't seen her knocked out that much. Were you surprised by that, or were you expecting that outcome?
I wasn't surprised by it. I mean, I just didn't really see, a couple people were like, oh, I think it might be like a 5-round decision. But, like, Andrade gets kind of tired, and usually she does better when she can, like, kind of bully people around, and I just knew she wasn't going to. Stylistically, too, she's more of, like, a pressure fighter, swinging, and if it stays standing, like, she's a pressure fighter, and Valentina is probably one of the best strikers in MMA, so her style just doesn't really play well into that. And then, I knew from me fighting her, if she gets the takedown, she doesn't seem very comfortable on the ground, so it's kind of like that dilemma. She wants to charge with her style, wants to charge Valentina, she's going to strike her, and then she's not going to take her down because, she doesn't seem super comfortable on the ground.
And then the other fight, the women's fight we had, Rose Namajunas knocking out Weili Zhang. What did you think of that?
Oh, that was amazing. I mean, like, part of me was like, I always like, obviously great finishes are awesome, but, like, I kind of would have wanted to, me being like, the fighter would have wanted to see the fight go a little bit longer just so you see exactly how it was going to go. But obviously, that's a perfect highlight and an awesome knockout. So I thought it was really good.
So you're fighting Viviane Araujo, I mentioned. Is that the opponent you wanted? Because there's another fight, obviously, they have with Lauren Murphy and Joanne Calderwood. Would you have wanted one of those opponents instead? I mean, I know you'll fight whoever they give you, but I think Calderwood was ranked at like a little bit higher than Araujo. Was that the fight you were looking at, or are you happy with this matchup?
I'm happy with this matchup. I kind of just wanted to get any fight. I didn't really care who it was. Viviane I like because she's the only one out of all of them that I haven't fought. I've already beaten Joanne Calderwood and I've beaten Lauren Murphy. So, you know what I mean? It would be weird for me to ask for a fight with them. The only reason why I was like kind of asking, because I would just ask for a fight with anyone. But,
right, okay.
Viviane, obviously, if you've never fought someone, it's a little bit more exciting.
Okay, that makes sense. Was this the right amount of time off in between fights, or were you trying to get one in there a little bit sooner?
I was definitely trying to get one sooner, but it comes quick. I couldn't really complain because I've been fighting so much. So I'm like, oh, I feel bad like bothering them, but because they've given me fights, but also like they didn't really give me them. I took a lot of last minute fights, so I want to stay active. So but they gave me this fight. I got booked out. Like, I think we were like 12 weeks out. So I've known about this fight for a while. So I'm just glad it's finally getting close.
How do you feel like you match up against Araujo in this fight?
I feel good. I think I match up really good with anyone in this division. I mean, I feel dominant. I feel like I'm more experienced and just a little bit more technical than her, anywhere the fight goes. Do
you think level of opposition will play into this? And this is like you with most of your opponents where you fought, the who's who. We were just talking about it there. You fought Lauren Murphy and you fought Joanne Calderwood. Like, how much of an advantage is that you've sort of been battle tested, so to speak, where some of your opponents haven't in terms of level of opposition?
I think it definitely helps. I mean, the more experienced you are, it's kind of that fine line. Like some fighters, have been in it for a while and they're experienced, but then there's one part they hit where it's like they're experienced, but they're kind of like over getting better. And I haven't hit that part yet. So right now I'm kind of in that sweet spot where I have the experience, but I'm still getting better. But Viviane's kind of like, a lot of people don't really know about her, but I mean, all of her fights in the UFC, she kind of got thrown into the top. She didn't really go into through the bottom of the division. So, all of her wins are definitely like top ranked opponents.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Training camp, anything different for this fight camp, or is it business as usual, training at your usual gym and training partners and all that?
Yeah, everything's kind of been the same since COVID. I used to train at Henzo's in the city a lot, but since John Danaher moved to Puerto Rico and a lot of my teammates for jiu-jitsu moved, I've been training a lot at Matt Serra's with Jason Rao and everyone there, who a lot of those people I trained with at Henzo's. So I don't have to commute as much so on those days, so it kind of works out nice. I've been getting a little bit more like one-on-one attention just with smaller groups on Long Island. So yeah, but other than that, everything's pretty much the same.
Speaking of which, how cool is it? Erin Blancfield in the UFC now. I know she didn't get to fight, but that's still cool. She got the call up, right?
Yeah. I'm really happy for her. She's been kind of like in the 5-round title fight camp since like the summer for Invicta, and then that kind of went through, and then she got ready for the UFC. But unfortunately it fell through, but hopefully she gets something soon, so she'll be doing really good. Who
are you mainly getting to work with this camp, like in terms of bodies?
Pretty much the same as usual. My main partner is Sijara Eubanks. She's fighting like 4 weeks after me. So, it's really great when we're both in camp together. And I've been going with her, Erin, another girl, Chris, on Long Island. I've kind of got like on like 1 day a week on Long Island, had a couple kind of formed like a little girl group for sparring. So it's been really well.
Good stuff. And weight cuts going well. I'm sure you had a decent amount of notice for this fight, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then I got like the first couple weeks of my camp, I got COVID. So that kind of helped my weight cut get started a little earlier.
How'd you get COVID? What was the culprit? Did you ever figure it out or no?
Huh?
How did you end up getting COVID?
I'm not sure. I mean, I've been out and about all the time, but I'm not sure. Me and my husband got it at the same time. So maybe, I don't know, either he gave it to me or I gave it to him. But yeah, we're like in gyms all day long and we're, everywhere. So it could have been anywhere.
Okay. And how bad were the symptoms? Because I know for some people, the lungs, it takes a bit to get back. Did you have anything serious, or how was it?
I mean, it wasn't too bad for me. My husband had it really, really bad. So luckily for me, it wasn't that bad. The first week back training, I wasn't that sick. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I went back to training, and I definitely felt it when I started training. I was like, oh my God. Like when I got it, everyone's like, oh, are you still going to fight? I was like, yeah, I still have like 5 or 6 weeks. I was like, why not? And then when I started training, I was like, oh my God, what happened? My cardio, it's so bad. I was like, like if you have it, you definitely can't fight like right after the 2 weeks. If, because I felt fine, but my cardio was definitely hurting for a week. But then after that, it just went back to normal.
Okay, good. So you started feeling normal a couple weeks after the 2 weeks. Would you say like maybe a month you were feeling better?
Yeah, I mean, after like the 2 weeks, and then my first week back training was a little hard, and then after the second week back training, it was totally fine.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
I'm going to have Mark Henry, Sijara Eubanks, and Ryan Cafaro, same as my last couple fights.
Good stuff. And how's this fight playing out on May 15th?
I really don't know. I kind of like 1 week I'll be like, when I'm sparring, I feel like I'm super like wrestling and grappling heavy. And then all of a sudden the next week I'm like just super back to like my typical boxing. And then I'll be like karate kicking a lot. So I don't know. I kind of like go through phases, and like every sparring session, I kind of do something different, not planned, just with how it goes. So I don't know. I'm kind of just going to, when the fight happens, see what I'm feeling that night.
Obviously, this is a big fight if you look at the rankings. I mentioned that Lauren Murphy-Joanne Calderwood fight. I would think the winner of that fights Valentina next. What are you thinking in terms of the implications of this fight and where you might go from here?
I have no idea. I think I try not to worry about it just because I'm kind of in a weird position. Like I beat everyone. They're not going to want me to fight. Joanne Calderwood and Lauren Murphy haven't fought for the title yet, so they're not going to want me to fight them because they know I've already beaten them, and I'll probably beat them again. So then that'll ruin their chances there, and it kind of, for a marketing standpoint, it makes more sense to put someone that hasn't fought Valentina against her rather than me, just because just that's a little bit more marketing standpoint. But yeah, I'm sure one of them will get I'm sure maybe like one of them will get the winner, and then I win this fight and I'll just fight whoever. I don't care. I'm in a weird position, like I understand that they're not going to, if I win this fight, they're, being realistic. They're probably not going to give me the title shot. If they do, I'm definitely down. I'll stay ready in case someone gets hurt or anything. But yeah, I'm just keep taking fights. If they're not going to give me the title fight, then just keep giving me girls to beat, and I'll keep, cashing checks. It's pretty nice.
Burning the Boats podcast. How's that going? It's you and your husband who do it, right?
Yeah. Me and my husband, we do it. Kind of do a little bit of fight talk and just kind of like lifestyle, cooking.
Because last time we talked, you had talked about maybe doing a YouTube channel with cooking, right? So this is like you decided to just go the audio podcast and then talk about food and fighting and stuff, right? Which is two things that are very much in common, because obviously a lot of fighters love food, especially when they have to cut weight. It's something they look forward to after the fight, right?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely wanted to do like the YouTube video we cook a lot, but both of us are like awful with like computers and editing. I'm like, I'm just like so proud of myself we're able to record audio and put it up on the site. That was like a struggle for us, and I'm like, the fact that I can do that, I'm impressed with myself.
And also, I noticed on your Twitter, or not your Twitter, Instagram, and I don't know if this is new, you put real estate investor on there. Is that something new? Because I think last time we talked, you were doing some of that.
Yeah, I've definitely been doing it over, more so over the past year, like heavily. We're buying a few houses and putting them up on Airbnb and kind of, setting that up so I have something to transition to after fighting. And, with the last year has been very crazy in a hot market. So we definitely took advantage of that and made some big moves there. And, so it's nice, your whole career, everyone's like, well, what are you going to do after fighting? And you're like, all right, well, chill. I still got to focus on the fighting part. Yeah. But, we were definitely able to set that up. So it's kind of nice now, I know 100% sure, like whenever I want, I have that career right there ready for me after fighting.
Is that because you're watching a lot of HGTV? I know like that's what my wife watches a lot. Like that, inspires anyone to go start flipping houses, because that's like half their programming on there, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely exciting. We bought a house out in East Hampton that we're currently renovating and trying to get that ready to go. We're getting close on time here, trying to get it ready for the summer. So it's definitely exciting. And it's nice to start to like have a passion that I really like outside of fighting.
And just one more kind of quick thing kind of on family and stuff. I know you've talked about kind of, maybe down the line, obviously having kids and stuff. And I know the focus right now is Viviane Araujo, May 15th, not, saying anything of that nature, because I know you have sort of talked about it in the past. But does this logjam at the top with the fact you've already fought Valentina, does that make you think more about the family thing now? Or is that something that you don't even want to address until you sort of see how the division unfolds?
It's not that I like don't want to address it. It's that I just honestly, I have no idea. I kind of I do a good job at like each fight, just not thinking about it and we'll see how I feel after the fight. I mean, it would almost be better for me if I was like not ranked. I've been ranked, I'm ranked number 2. I've been in like 1 and 2 for like the last like 4 years. So it's kind of tough if I was like, ranked lower and I wasn't making as much money. It would kind of be like an easier decision, but it's like you work your whole career and now you finally start making money. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to get back. No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I was just curious because again, just because you fought Valentina, but that makes sense. You totally, won me over with that argument. So it
definitely makes it harder because I am close to, who knows if my fight, if I, win in a really good fashion, a really exciting fight, and then Lauren Murphy and JoJo's fight's like a boring fight, then maybe I'm right there. Or maybe I fight this one, I have another one, and then I'm right there again. It's almost makes it harder because I am so close. But yeah, just kind of take it fight by fight, because a lot of things you can't control. Even if I win, first round, first minute knockout or something like something super crazy like that, and the other fight's boring, they might still not give me the title shot, and then they might tell me I have to fight 4 more times. You're never guaranteed, and even when they tell you, it's still not guaranteed. So I just kind of, just trying to take it fight by fight. I mean, like over a year and a half ago, I thought maybe I was like, I think I'm done. And then here I am like 6 fights later. It's just like, it's a crazy cycle. You never know.
Well, not just that, there's women moving up and down weight classes. Like, I know the latest one that I've heard maybe she might fight 125 is Tatiana Suarez, right? She hasn't fought in a while. Now she's thinking about coming back. So that opens things up. We had Cynthia Calvillo move up a few years ago. So I'm sure that's part of it as well. Just knowing there could be some fresh matchups in the division, right?
Yeah, it's tough because I still see like so many fights, like I'm still getting so much better, each camp. I think if I wasn't getting better and I was like in the same position, I'd maybe be like, all right, I'm done. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm still having so much fun training and learning so much. And then, like you said, with new girls coming in, and when I watch fights, I still have that fighter mentality where I'm like, oh my God, I know I can beat them. So, right now I'm still super into it.
Katlyn, always a pleasure. Appreciate the time. Anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors? Any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Just everywhere on social media at Blancfield, and listen to my podcast, Burning the Boats podcast, on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you see that. It's in my link in my Instagram bio.